Hello everyone, welcome to Narayana IAS, and as a part of special video we are going to discuss the most important topic with you. And then in the today's series we will discuss the why ICC prosecutors are trying to seek an arrest warrants against the Israeli Prime Minister, that is Benjamin Netanyahu. So this is an important topic from the perspective of GS paper 2 international relationship and international bodies. Specifically because we are going to talk about international criminal court in here. Now, why are we talking about international criminal court? In specific, you know that for a really long time, a war has been going on between Israel and Palestine, where Israel is on the upper side, and Israel is more often than not, for a long time, has been criticized for the war crime as well. And it was not only Israel. The Hamas, which was the first one to begin the assault on the Israel, is also criticized for the war crime. And in light of this, now international court or International Criminal Court is seeking an arrest warrant. In particular, the member countries of the ICC is asking for issue of the arrest warrant not only against the Israeli Prime Minister, that is Benjamin Netanyahu, but also the Defense Minister, and along with that, the three Hamas leaders. Now, the important question over this is why not releasing an arrest warrant or actually taking action against the entire government of the Israel? Why are we speaking about one government? Because it's not one person who is responsible. Often the entire institution is responsible in this case. Now, the reason behind is, why will you understand that one person is going to be held responsible or we are targeting individual, is after you understand what is International Criminal Court. Okay, now International Criminal Court is a court at an international level which is responsible for investigation and trying the individual with the most serious crime of concern of international community. If some crime that is committed and is actually it is an international limelight and it has an international implication which is very serious, then those crimes are actually not only tried but also first investigated and then tried by the International Criminal Court. Okay. The crimes here involved, number one is genocide, number two is crime against humanity, war crimes and crimes of aggression. So these are the crimes that ICC tries to deal with. Okay, now the International Criminal Court, let's talk about the origin. It is based in Hague, Netherlands, same place where the International Court of Justice is also there. So there is a bit of comparison that you should always keep on comparing and get to know. So it is based in Hague, Netherlands. It was established in 2002, but its original treaty by which it was formed, that is Rome Statute or International Treaty, came into 1998. And which provided for the establishment of International Criminal Court, along with that its power, its functions, its funding procedure, everything came from this particular statute. And after which the ICC became the world's first permanent international criminal court. Okay. Few more important data that you should know and memorize is that it has 6 official languages like English, French, Arabic, Chinese, Russian and Spanish. It has 2 working languages, English and French. Its membership include 124 nations, and the recent one is Malaysia, which has recently ratified the Rome Statute and become the part of the ACC. It is important. In order to become the part of ICC, International Criminal Court, you should have ratified the Rome Statute. Okay. Now, one more thing, when we talk about membership, you should know that India is not a party to International Criminal Court. And in the end of the video, we will discuss the reason behind it, why India is not part of the ICC. But along with India, the other countries that are not part of the ICC and Rome Statute are US, Russia and China, along with Israel, that we will discuss in this video. Now, Russia was part of ICC. It has signed the ICC, but it withdrew in 2016. And now since then, it is not part of the ICC. Now, moving on to the other few facts, that's the composition of ICC. ICC, being a court, is composed of 18 judges, which are being elected for almost 9 years, and the term is non-renewable. That means once they're elected and they've served their term, they cannot come back to being the judge of ICC. So it's a non-renewable term. Next is, let's talk about the, okay, I can see a few of the comment as well. In meantime, I'll talk about the judges too, where it consists of 3 judges, the president, 2 vice presidents who are elected among the judges, and it represents the court. This particular presidency is responsible for representing of the court to the outside world. The image is created for them, and it is also responsible for maintenance of the entire ICC. So that's the composition. Now let's talk about what is the relationship of ICC with the UN, because once you see such a huge organization with such a big implication, you talk about supranational government, then UN definitely comes to your mind. But here keep in mind, because a question can definitely be asked, that's how UPSC can confuse you. ICC is not a UN organization. Keep that in mind. It is not a UN organization, but it cooperates with UN and it has a special relationship with UNSC. This special relationship that you can see over there, that there in a situation, it doesn't, like UNSC can refer a situation to ICC where ICC does not have a jurisdiction, but UNSC can give or transfer the jurisdiction to ICC, even the non-members of ICC. Okay. Now, we should understand that what is the jurisdiction of ICC, like who can actually ICC make law, like can actually persecute, can try. Now, let's understand the jurisdiction of ICC itself, because the jurisdiction has implication on the current scenario. That is where we're talking about the Palestine-Israel issue, and can the Prime Minister of Israel be arrested? Okay. Now, comparison here, when we talk about comparison, number one, it's okay, like I'm just looking for the, like what have you comment so far. Okay, if you have any doubt, do definitely comment here. Now, next is comparison. ICC operates independently from the International Court of Justice. I was saying, throughout, just try to make a comparison of ICC with ICJ. By this method, you will able to, first of all, memorize. And you will clearly know the difference, and that's why you know the specifications of ICC as well. So remember, it does not operate with ICJ, it operates independent, though they share the headquarter. But unlike ICJ, which actually deals with a dispute in between the state, like in between the state it deals with, ICC handles the prosecution of individual. That's a major difference that you will remember. Over. ICJ deals with difference in between the state, and on the other hand, ICC deals with the individual. It cannot persecute a state. It has to be individual it can deal with the deal with whatever that is being, like if a crime is committed by someone. So like if you have any, I can see the comment over there. Okay, thank you. So yeah, many people are saying it has lost relevance, but given the fact that it has some level of, there are some people that against whom it has actually filed the cases as well. But I do understand why you're talking about relevance as well, because even this case you will highlight that ICC has many limitations, and when you will move on to that part, you will realize yes, that's true. It has many limitations upon which it can definitely work upon, and perhaps that is the reason that India is not party to ICC, and we'll talk about that. It's an interesting aspect. But here remember, ICJ can deal with the dispute that are in between the state, but it is ICC which deals with the individual, and that's the reason when you see that in present case, the ICC is asking for arrest warrant against the Prime Minister, it is not actually targeting the institution or a state, because it can only deals with an institution. So it highlighted the Prime Minister, and then it is trying to file a case against them. Prime Minister and Defense Minister and the leaders of the Hamas, the entire Hamas is not persecuted, because the ICC does not have a jurisdiction in that manner. Okay, so let's understand furthermore about jurisdiction, that what is the jurisdiction over here, that ICC is only competent to hear cases if number one, the country where the offense has been committed is a party to Rome Statute. Like I said, any country who want to be part of the ICC should have signed and ratified Rome Statute. So if the country is, that means a victim's country where the offense has taken place. Here in this case, Palestine, it's where the offense has taken place. If it is part of the Rome Statute, then of course ICC has jurisdiction. Second is, if perpetrator's country of origin is also part of the Rome Statute, that means who has committed the violence is also part of the Rome Statute, then against them also the case can be filed. An individual can go and file a case against another individual. Now, also here keep in mind that ICC can only exercise its jurisdiction if the national court is unable or unwilling to do so. So it says that first recourse should be a national court. Only then you can go to the ICC. It's not a replacement of national judiciary system that is available to any nation. It respects the sovereignty and boundary of the national court. Next is the most important thing, it does not have a retrospective jurisdiction. That means any case that has happened before its formation, which is basically 1 July 2002. In that case, it will have no jurisdiction. Only the cases that have happened after 1 July 2002, it can actually try and prosecute those cases. Okay, so I hope you understand that. Moving on to next is the relevance of the present case. Once you understand the ICC, we will move on to the now the relevance part. Why the understanding of ICC is important. First thing I talk about, does ICC have any jurisdiction? Any jurisdiction in that manner? ICC, since Israel is not a member, so people can say no, ICC does not have a jurisdiction. But you should also know that Palestine is a member of ICC because it signed and ratified the Rome Statute and Rome Treaty in 2015. Okay, you remember that. Either of the party, either the victim's country or the perpetrator country should be part of the Rome Statute. Here, the perpetrator is not, but at least victim country, that is Palestine, as I discussed even over there, is party to ICC. That definitely means that, you know, this case can be tried in ICC. So even if Israel is not the member, there is a ground for ICC to try the case. Okay, thank you so much I hope that as much as you like the topic, you understand as well. Okay. No. India is not member of the ICC. I have highlighted, like Pratik, thank you for asking this question. India is not member of the ICC. And even I have highlighted that before. Again, in the concluding section, we will talk about why India chose not to be the part of the ICC. So, ICC, the first aspect, yes, the case can be tried by the ICC. Second is, can it be implemented as well? Now, the two most important aspects you remember over there, in ICC depends upon its member for two particular purposes. Number one is funding and number two is implementation. It doesn't have its own funding mechanism and it doesn't have its implementing agency. So what it does, it relies on the obligation on part of the ICC. Its judgment are though binding, but in order to be implemented, it's a state countries that has to cooperate. So, so in this case, if ICC finds a reasonable ground for the arrest of ICC, then the member countries will be obligated. The 124 member countries will be obligated to arrest and extradite the individual, in this case our Prime Minister or even the member of the Hamas, to the Hague. So they will be taken to the ICC and they'll be prosecuted over there. So overall it relies on state cooperation. And thus, what the implication of such, if that happens, implication of such judgment will be that it will restrict the movement of Israel's Prime Minister, especially many parties, many developing countries like US and Germany, UK and Germany, not US, UK and Germany are part of the ICC. If the Israeli Prime Minister travels over there, they will be under obligation to arrest him and extradite to the Hague. Okay, now what are the limitations? Can that be possible? Like I highlighted, ICC is dependent upon its member. If member driven by geopolitical interests refuse to do so, that means ICC judgment, despite being binding, cannot be implemented. And that is a major concern. And that's the reason I could see that why in the comment section, you were saying that, you know, it has become redundant, it's not very useful. And that is the reason. I can understand why you're saying so, because it's very dependent. In order for ICC to be successful, maybe it needs its own funding mechanism, it needs its own implementing agency. Okay. Now next is why India is not party to ICC. So this answer the first question. You were asking whether India is part to ICC or not. No, India is not part to ICC. And the reason is because the first reason given by India is that state sovereignty. India believes that Supreme Court of India has the highest jurisdiction in our country to try a case in which the individual is involved in war crime or any kind of heinous crime. After independence, we gave any other court the jurisdiction to try an individual. As a state, it can be tried for maybe economic matters. For other, as we have WTO and UN agency, but ICC, India is not ready to give that jurisdiction. Also for the national interest as well, India believes that the present statute by which it is defined is very ambiguous in definition, and maybe ambiguity will result in hurting India's national interest. So ambiguity, when I talk about in definition, is you can, here the example is, the definition of crime against humanity is such broadly defined that anything can come into this. So anything can be persecuted. So India wants more objectivity. India wants more rationally in coming up with definition. Also, India is not happy with the unchecked right that is given to the UNSC, where UNSC can actually refer and delay an investigation. And we are already not happy with the UNSC, where we believe the developed countries has disproportional representation, too much representation, and they act on vested interest as well. So since we are talking about UNSC reform, and then ICC giving such huge power to the UNSC, India is not happy with that, the binding power it gives to the UN, like the kind of power it gives to the UNSC. Also, overall, India is not happy with lacunas as well, where it says that nuclear weapons and the weapons of mass destruction are not explicitly criminalized by the ICC in their statute, Rome Statute. So, India is overall skeptical of the ICC's conduct, whether it should be partial or not, but India does cooperate. On a voluntary basis, cooperation is asked, India does, but on a formal basis, we are currently not part of the ICC. We can think about that once ICC also undergoes some sort of reform. So with this, we are done with this topic. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for your doubts. We will come with more and more topics like that, and we do value your feedback. So be with us. We will come up with new topic next day, tomorrow at the same time. Thank you so much.